stuffed chairs and black and white Serbian rugs, but surrounding you the walls were made up entirely of books, their shelves shoe-top low to ceiling high, insisting that you browse them. Mostly they were the books of the modern gang, from James and Hardy and Yeats to Stein and Woolf and Fitzgerald, and even the boys you had to read one step ahead of the morality police, D.H. Lawrence and James Joyce. Pyramided on a little shrine of a table in the midst of the sitting space were the few copies remaining of the most dangerous of the modernly immoral books, Joyce's Ulysses, thick as a randy man would hope his book would be, and deceptively serene-seeming in its Aegean blue cover. The one stretch of wall stuck with the room's fireplace was, in place of books, bespangled with the images, photographic and lithographic, of all these same literary stars, watching us riffle their pages. The shop was owned and run by a small, handsome woman who seemed both as tough and as sweet as my own Louise, though my wife was still partial to dresses and wore her hair bunned up beneath her wide-brimmed hats. Sylvia Beach, however, kept her hair full as a boxwood but bobbed jawline short, and the day I met her she was wearing a man's-cut velvet jacket and an oversized parody of a boy's first bow tie. She and my wife hit it off right away. I know they did, because after the three of us introduced ourselves and shared a little of our feature section backstories, including my substantial history as a newsman and insubstantial history as a nascent novelist, Sylvia made a move to take me into the center of the sitting area and introduce me to some regulars. But as soon as she sighted our prey, she abruptly held up. She tucked her hand inside my arm and said, low, "Sorry, the boys are presently occupied." She nodded at two men leaning at each other from facing chairs within easy nose-punching distance, talking volubly. "Ezra," she said, "is once again telling Ernest how to write, ex cathedra. Give them a few moments while I resume with your beautiful wife." So I listened to both conversations in fragments. The gentleman before me. "To cut, dear boy, ravenously to cut. Your beard, old man?" The latter speaker, bare-chinned but mustachioed, would turn out to be Hemingway. The other man, who would be Ezra Pound, had a diabolic point to his beard. "Your every unnecessary word," Pound replied. The ladies behind me. "Happy August 18th, Miss Beach." "Ah, my dear, I somehow knew you would be aware." My wife had already made me aware immediately upon our arising this morning. Today was the second anniversary of the enactment of the 19th Amendment, though my wife had yet to be home during an election. Shortly, Pound flopped backwards in his chair, slid his butt abruptly forward till he was sitting on his spine, grasped the knob on the ebony cane leaning against his chair, and thumped the stick once sharply on the floor. Hemingway laughed. It must have been a characteristic conversation-pausing gesture from Pound, for almost at once, after a hasty, "Pardon me, dear," to Louise, Sylvia was again grasping my arm, and now leading me forward. As we moved toward the two men, Hemingway said to Pound, "You know, I'm grateful. I'll even supply the blue pencil." Sylvia slowed us down but kept us going. With a rising twirl of his right hand, Pound replied, "Make it half a dozen." Sylvia and I came into the periphery of their vision. Both men turned to us. Thus I met Ernest Hemingway, and his poet-editor to boot. Hemingway and I picked up the cues from Sylvia's introduction, and we began to talk of newspapers and of war. Shortly, Pound, whose connection to Hemingway seemed pretty rarefied, flourished his way from the chair — he was wearing a cape — and went off to graze Sylvia's shelves. I sat down with my new writer friend. We spoke on, of Paris and fiction writing and our wives. Hem nearly leaped from his chair in admiration at the mention of Louise being a nurse. "Did she treat you for a wound?" he asked. The answer was complicated. It was tangled up with some nasty wartime Secret Service business in this very town. I said, "No." He bounced his head in